Welcome to this day with Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. And I especially welcome those of you who found your way blocked on the way this morning by the roadie run, but made it here anyway. This is a little welcome from Meg Barnhouse. We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frilled, the shy and the dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers and non-clappers, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith. My name is Sarah Walker, and I'm a member of the board here at QUUF. And as we gather, I acknowledge that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the S'Klallam and Chimicum peoples. We honor and acknowledge our indigenous members and neighbors and vow to help restore and sustain these homelands. If you're visiting today, I offer a special welcome and invite you to join us for refreshments and conversation in the fellowship hall after the service. We have a newcomers table near the patio doors where our greeters are ready to answer any questions you might have. Welcome to you this morning. We're glad you're here. I have several announcements, and this one, following today's service, you're invited to bring your tea or coffee back here into the sanctuary for a conversation circle about today's sermon and the Article 2 proposed revision. The Community Council and our staff invite all of you who have volunteered at QUUF this year to a celebration. Friday, May 31st at 5 o'clock. It will be helpful if you RSVP in the foyer or through the invitation in the weekly update. This is for all our fabulous volunteers who make this place special. And I have an announcement from the AHA group. Join Certified Laughter Yogis Professor Pete Alexander and Bill Cohill for a fun, educational, and interactive discussion tonight at AHA. Learn how laughter is uniquely human and really good for you. Potluck at 5 in the fellowship hall. Discussion follows at 5:30. All are welcome. And now Paul Lubert has an exciting announcement for us.
Hi, my name is Paul Lubert. I've been a part of growth and learning at QUUF for nearly 10 years. In January, QUUF held 2 congregation-wide meetings to ask what we all wanted in learning and growth and a program in that. People expressed gratitude for services and for action and covenant groups, but they also hoped for more opportunities for deeper learning and stimulating conversation. Also, they wanted to build community through action and service to the larger community. Also, people were looking for deepening spirituality and more profound understanding of Unitarian Universalism and its history. Also, there was enthusiasm for movement classes, music, poetry, and other artistic modalities. Also, field trips were great. Also, people hoped for some intergenerational offerings. They didn't want this to be just an adult program. And so, the Also team came into being. That's advancing learning and spiritual opportunities. At the congregational meetings, we called for volunteers to create an official team to grow out the interim team that managed a limited program this spring. The interim program was diverse. It even included a field trip, but it was a one-off. To build out this team, to create an also team, we're advertising for new members to join me, Dean Carr, Catherine Wadsworth, David Deerdorf, Mary Tucker, Henry Amick, Jesse Wild, Bo Algren, and Minister Linda, and you're welcome to get involved. We're planning a program for the fall, and we're looking for a diverse array of facilitators and offerings for people to learn together, build community, and have some intergenerational gathering. We're open for proposals. If you have an idea, we can help. Our contact information is on the flyer that you picked up this morning with the order of service. Finally, there is also cake. After the service today in the fellowship hall, there's a cake to celebrate the onset of also. Thank you.
Let us settle our minds and calm our hearts.
Good morning. Good morning. Am I on? Not quite. Okay. Yeah. yes. Okay, well, we'll just soldier on, which is kind of my thing for this morning. We gather here in worship to seek the truth, to grow in love, and to join in service, to celebrate life's beauty and to find healing for its pain, to honor our kinship with each other and with the earth, to create a more compassionate world, beginning with ourselves, to wonder at the mystery that gave us birth, to find courage for the journey's end, and to listen for the wisdom that guides us in the quietness of this moment. It is good to be together this morning. Will you join me in the chalice lighting words, please? Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom, we light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. Will you join in singing, please? Our first hymn, Love Will Guide Us, number 131 in the gray hymnal, if you want to take a look.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
I'd like to invite, there we go, see, look, it works, yay! I'd like to invite the children up for a story, and anyone else who might like to join them here. All right. Ooh. It's going to be harder to see from over there, but that's okay. People need to be where they are most comfortable. Good morning. Good morning to you all. So our book today, having taken the cover off so it doesn't actually say, is called Maybe. Have you ever wondered why you are here? You are the only you there ever has been or ever will be. You have so much to offer. Maybe you will invent something that no one has ever seen before. Maybe you will build things that reach high up into the sky. Your life is yours. Try as many things as you can. See as much as you can see. Wherever you go, take your hopes, pack your dreams, and never forget, it is on journeys that discoveries are made. Maybe you will help others to see the beauty in each day. Or maybe you will lift cheering crowds onto their feet. Do everything with love. Follow your heart and see where it leads. Maybe you are here to shine a light into places that have been dark for too long. Maybe you will speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Maybe you are here to help in ways only you can help. There will be struggles, there will be fears, and it won't always be easy. At times it will feel really hard, and you might make a mess of things. Anybody relate? You may fall down. You may fail. But you will also get back up, and you will rise a little stronger and a little taller, because there really is more inside you than you know, and this world needs your gifts, your talents, your big ideas. What if you are only scratching the surface of what you can do and who you can be? What if you have talents you haven't discovered yet? There is something powerful, even magical, about you. You already have everything it takes to do big things. Maybe you have no idea just how good you really can be, and maybe you don't know how much you matter. But maybe, just maybe, the world has been waiting for centuries for someone exactly like you. One thing is for sure, you are here, and because you are here, anything is possible. And that's our story for today. And I hope you all, even though you probably didn't get a lot of that, remember that you are a special gift to the world, and especially to us. Let's make an arch and sing our children out.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
We pause for a time of generosity and to receive an offering to support the life and the ministry of QUUF. The ushers will come among you to receive the offering, and additional ways for giving will be projected. Please join in our offering words. This fellowship is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
This time is set aside to share joys and sorrows. We recognize that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. I need your help, my friend. And thus, thank you. And thus we place this stone, this first stone, thinking in particular of the ongoing crisis in the Middle East, the people who are suffering and struggling, the conflict that seems unending. We hold them in our hearts and pray for peace always. And we place a final stone, another stone, for the joys and sorrows that are not spoken, but still tenderly held in our hearts. Thank you. Will you join me in a few moments of quiet and reflection, of meditation, prayer, whatever is most your custom? Settle into your seat and take a deep breath. Perhaps close your eyes if that helps you to go inward a bit. I share these words by Laura Horton Ludwig. Spirit of love and life, we are here because we believe what we do matters. We are here because we believe how we live our life matters. That with every act of kindness or meanness, courage or fear, love or hate, we are weaving the fabric of the universe that holds us all. We are here because we need encouragement, because we need strength, because so often we get distracted. We get in a rush, we don't think, we choose the easy way when the harder path is what our spirits truly long for. We are here because none of us is perfect, but together we inspire one another to try again, to take another step. We are here because we have felt the stirrings in our hearts and hands, and we crave more of that for ourselves, and not only for ourselves, but for everyone. We are here because how we live matters. Let us pause for a few moments of stillness. So may it be. Blessed be. Our first reading this morning comes from an essay called "The Theology of Love Was Never a Monologue" by my colleague Nancy MacDonald Ladd. Nancy begins her essay by noting that the roots of the word theology are theo, meaning God, and logos, meaning talk, the core meaning of the word, is God talk, she says. And then she goes on to say, I want to make a case that maybe we shouldn't spend so much time asking what it is we personally do and do not believe in the deep inner recesses of our hearts. Maybe that highly individualistic and utterly non-relational question, what do you believe, isn't the point of theology in the first place. After all, theology is a conversation. Remember that old dictum we started with? It's God talk. Theology is not an inner monologue for the purposes of one's own clarification and edification. It isn't talking to oneself about oneself, for oneself. At the very least, theology is a dialogue. And so the question I think is most pertinent in our history and our time is not so much, what do I believe, as it is, with whom am I in holy and accountable conversation? With whom am I in holy and accountable conversation? Perhaps my theology isn't actually about me at all. If love or relationality or commitment to interconnection really lies at the center, then theology has never been about me. It's about who I am in covenant with and what that covenant asks of me and how I am held by that covenant in relationship to that force which is and always be so much larger than myself alone. There ends our reading.
The second reading is from the book by Parker Palmer entitled A Hidden Wholeness. We all need other people to invite, amplify, and help us discern our inner teacher's voice for at least 3 reasons. The journey toward inner truth is too taxing to be made solo. Lacking support, the solitary traveler soon becomes weary or fearful and is likely to quit the road. The path is too deeply hidden to be traveled without company. Finding our way involves clues that are subtle and sometimes misleading, requiring the kind of discernment that can happen only in dialogue. The destination is too daunting to be achieved alone. We need community to find the courage to venture into the alien lands to which the inner teacher may call us.
I'm not sure y'all would want to be sitting up here next to this thing. Woo! Thank you. Beautiful music. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, Unitarian Universalists, they have a thing about love. A few years ago, someone with too much time on their hands put all the words from the hymns and the readings in our great hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, and put it into one of those word cloud generators. You know, that's one of those programs that counts the number of times that a word appears in a document, and then arranges them in a design with each word appearing in a size that represents how many times it appeared in the document. The more times it appears, the larger it, the more times it is mentioned, the larger it appears. The program filters out words like and the common words that would, dominate everything, so that the nouns and verbs and such take center stage. Now here it is. This is what we got, right? Right? We have a thing about love, we Unitarian Universalists. The cloud for our second hymnal, which I didn't put up, Singing the Journey, also has love at the center with a second place word of heart. We have a thing about love. I've also heard us at times described as the love people by people who are outside of our community. I think it's largely because of the prominence of the word love on the bright yellow t-shirts and banners that were created to support our social justice work. The phrase came about, standing on the side of love, came about way back when we were in the early fight for marriage equality. This is in the days before Massachusetts had even, made marriage equality a law, brought it into law. Then President Bill Sinkford was in his office in our UU headquarters. And if you don't know, at that time, our UU headquarters looked right out at the Massachusetts State House. It was right up there on Beacon Hill, right next to the State House. On this one day, composer Jason Shelton, one of my colleagues, was in Bill's office waiting to talk to him while Bill was finishing a conversation on the phone. It was something about the work that was being done to make it possible for LGBTQ folks to legally marry in the state. Eavesdropping, as one does when one is listening in on somebody else's call, that they are waiting for it to end, Jason heard Bill say, we're always standing on the side of love. And the phrase struck Jason as singable. Shortly thereafter, he wrote the hymn, Standing on the Side of Love, which was then adopted by our social justice folks, and the idea spread. Now, a quick note to say that not very long ago, Jason revised that, and the hymn is now answering the call of love, as we try to make our words more inclusive. We'll be singing that at the end of the service, so get ready. In March of 2015, Melissa Harris Perry, a member of one of our UU congregations, by the way, was broadcasting from the 50th anniversary of the Selma March near the Edmund Pettus Bridge. There was a large number of Unitarian Universalists in the march. I know, I was there with them. And many of them were wearing the yellow t-shirts, passing by the elevated platform that she was on as she was reporting on what was going on. When the camera went off, as this large contingent of UUs went past, she shouted out, "There are my love people!" I tell you, we have a thing about love. And of course, our Universalist heritage has always had love at the center. As Nancy MacDonald Ladd notes, our theology really has never been about us. It's always been about God. And the central assertion of our historic universalism has had nothing to do with the inherent benevolence, goodness, or blessedness of human nature, but rather the benevolence of God's nature and the utter necessity for grace to act upon we flawed human beings as transformed recipients of that unearned and expansive grace each and every time we fail. Now, that theistic language can be a bit difficult for some of us, I know that, but the notion at the core of all existing is something, a force, an insight, a gift that allows us to come back to something like wholeness and peace. Really resonates for me. I can't think of anything other than love that can do that. Author Lucy Rees describes her experience after losing a newborn and the months that she stayed with friends as she tried to emerge from the grief and the pain of it. She says of it, "I went home at last. The support of my friends surrounded me with love and kindness. I believe it is this, rather than the mere passage of time, that accumulates to heal us. Where faith and hope fail, charity, love, that greatest of human attributes, still sustains." We probably all have different names for that experience that Rees points to. What is it that accumulates, that allows us to patch up our broken hearts, that comes slowly when life has beaten us down with grief and sorrow, when everything around us seems to be only dust and ashes of everything that mattered, when we are betrayed or battered by all of life's vagaries. We know the fragility of our lives, and there is something that comes that makes enduring possible and renewed life probable. And what is it? Only love. I bring this up because in just about a month, the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly will be taking place online. And along with the excellent worship and workshops and music that we'll be experiencing, the delegates from our congregation will be voting on business that includes a second vote on the revision of Article 2 of the bylaws of the association, the section that is called the Purposes and Principles. This is the end of a multi-year process that has engaged thousands of Unitarian Universalists across the country. It's been discussed on millions of pixels on websites and social media sites, in person and in online conversations. I will tell you, it's highly contested by people who love our previous statement, the 7 principles, which were created in 1984 in a similar process, but without the internet. So we all had to be face-to-face to do it. As well as people who find the new articulation just simply to be inadequate for all sorts of reasons. And then there are the folks who welcome the new articulation. There it is. That features the graphic with the word love at the center and is surrounded by keywords that express that love: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. We'll be voting on the two amendments that add peace and reason to the values at the General Assembly. They've come up in the time. Now, I want to tell you, in this process, my colleagues have been busy kind of figuring out how we move forward with this. And one of the things they have done, I'll tell you honestly, I have never remembered what the 7 principles were. I always have a vague idea of what they are, but unlike many people, I never memorized them. It just hasn't been one of those things that happened in my life. And my colleagues have gotten clever and have come up with an acronym to help you remember the values. Remember this little guy? It's the acronym is JETPIG. JETPIG, the guy. Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. Jet pig. I mean, could you not love it? I mean, seriously, friends. Seriously, friends. I didn't get the little jet on him. Some of my colleagues, let me tell you, some of my colleagues have like little jet engines on the back of this, that they've created. I love the little guy. Anyhow, so getting back to the matter at hand. Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, the most recent past president of the UUA, notes that many of our current 7 principles describe the values we hope define human relationship: compassion and justice, democracy and peace, respect and acceptance. And, she says, one of the things that draws us together is not any one shared belief, but a desire for community. 2 weeks from today, we'll have a chance at our annual meeting to share our opinions with the delegates that we're sending to General Assembly this year. The vote will be non-binding to the delegates, but will inform how they decide to vote. As one of those delegates myself, I know now I will be voting yes for them, and also for adding the 2 additional values. The world, you see, is very different than it was 40 years ago when the 7 principles were adopted. Back then, we only had the beginning of inklings of what would become the climate crisis that we're living through. The upward swing of wealth to a very few was only beginning back then, 1984, when during Ronald Reagan's plan to reorder our economy finally took hold and has endured since. Those of us who are white didn't yet understand that the civil rights movement hadn't really changed all that much, and that people of color in this country were still living under the weight of oppressions that we have only in the last few years started to pay attention to. Women's actual liberation, in as much as we have achieved it now, was still taking hold. And the AIDS crisis was just on the edge of our awareness. And LGBTQ plus people were struggling for safety and the smallest bits of recognition that their lives were worthy and holy and good. It is time, I believe, to reimagine our core values and commitments, to find a new articulation of what is at the heart of our faith. And for me, what matters most about the process that we've been through has been the conversations that we've had about it. I've said before that what resides in the 2nd article of the bylaws of the Unitarian Universalist Association really doesn't matter a whole lot to me. It's a legal requirement in order to be incorporated in the state of Massachusetts. And while it offers guidance to us and has been an inspiration for how we talk about our faith, it isn't what defines our community, nor is it some kind of test to judge our loyalty and obedience to the larger organization. If it passes or it doesn't, it will have little effect on this community, other than perhaps affording us a new way to explore and celebrate the faith that brings us together. Back in the years when I was serving the Tacoma congregation, when we offered our Path to Membership class, I always handed out copies of our gray hymnal and had people turn to the first few pages where the principles and purposes were listed, and we'd read over them. Then I would tell the story about being in seminary and going to a women's conference where the organizers had asked us to take a new draft of the principles that they had created and requested that we ask our congregations to submit the proposed changes to get onto the agenda of the General Assembly for a vote. The women who led the Women's Federation, our traditional national women's organization, and the Women in Religion panel that had been formed years earlier before to collaborate. It's that day, friends. So, and the Women in Religion Committee that had been organized by the denomination to help promote women's participation, they gathered together to create a plan to initiate a denomination-wide conversation on the principles. When the vote took place at the GA meeting in Philadelphia that year, that was 1981, we, the General Assembly, because I was there, voted to refer the revision to committee to undertake a denomination-wide conversation. As a student intern in 1983, I helped to lead the process of that conversation in my congregation at the First Universalist Church in Minneapolis. So what's critical here, in my not very humble opinion, isn't that we somehow find the perfect words and phrases and enshrine them in our bylaws, but that we have the conversation. What's critical isn't the product, but the process of exploration and discovery with each other. In a few weeks, in the General Assembly, we will be voting on this new image and this set of values and this possible articulation of what it is we are about as an organization. And honestly, I hope we adopt it. I like it. It inspires me to think about my faith in a new way and is in alignment with what I have devoted my professional life to. But in the end, in reality, it's about a legal document that enables us to do business in the state of Massachusetts. Our community here, regardless of what happens, whether it passes or it fails, will continue to do the work that we've always come here to do, to find a life to live that is worthy, to create more love, more justice, and peace in the world, to strive for something closer to equity among all of us, and to give of ourselves to our community and to the world. It is always our call and always our joy to be in that work. So may it be. Amen. Our closing song is number 1014, Answering the Call of Love. And it's in our, if you want the music, it's in our teal hymnal, 1014. I invite you to stand as you are comfortable to do so.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one. Emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
May the love that gives life its beauty, the reverence that gives life its sacredness, and the purposes that give life its deep significance be strong within each of us and lead us into ever-deepening relationships with all of life. So may it be. Amen. Join me in our chalice extinguishing words, please. We extinguish our flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.